Hey guys, welcome to day 5 of Bookmas. Today I'm going to tell you about 5 of my favourite TBR games that I found this year. These aren't in any particular order of liking, they're just randomly picked out. Just before I start, I will say that I'm not going to talk about the really big TBR games that I watch, so Becca's Bookopoly, Cody's Wheel of TBR and Jade's TBR Pursuit. Took me a while to think of the name of that one. I'm not going to mention those guys, the big games here, because I think everybody has probably heard of them already. So I'm going to mention some other ones. So the first TBR game I want to talk about is Litland, which is created by Caitlin E. And this is just such a fun game. So I think this game is based on a game called Candyland, which I'd never heard of before. Basically, the aim is to get from the bottom to the top, and then once she's at the top, then she can do a book haul. And it's really fun, and she uses this really cute little pig piece. So even just, I think she did Caitlin E name him Wilbur. I think maybe she did, but he's so cute. So definitely, I think just for the pig, go and check out the game. But yeah, it's really cool. So it's kind of like a mix of prompts and also just genres. There are these cards that are picked up, and on the card is a colour, and depending on the colour is a genre that the book has to be in. And then there are also these stuck cards where I think if books haven't been read during the month, then there are challenge cards that Caitlin E has to read to fulfill those, and those are really fun. And she's just a delight to watch. She's always smiling. She has awesome purple hair at the moment. It's kind of good how her game's set up because it just covers all the different genres, so she ends up reading quite an eclectic group of stuff, although she does love fantasy romance. I think that's one of the genres, is one of her big things that she likes. But yeah, she's just a joy to watch and listen to, and I feel like her game has quite high stakes because she could be right at the top and then pull a card and then land on, I think it's not pull a card, but land on a square where she gets sent right back down to the beginning. So the stakes feel quite high. But yeah, Litland, really love it. The second TBR game I want to talk about is a really simple idea. So it's the TBR Cookie Jar, which was created by Reading with Nori. And yeah, so this, you might say, doesn't really sound like a game, but I feel like it is a game because she rolls the dice at the beginning, and depending on the number that comes up, that's how many cookies get pulled from the jar. And these cookies are so cute. But yeah, it's a really simple setup, but I just feel like it just works so well, especially with Nori's personality. She's so funny. I really love her reactions to what books she pulls out. So even though there's only books written on the cookies, so they're not prompts or anything like that, it's just her TBR collection written in there, but her reactions are hilarious, and she's just a joy to watch again. And again, she really likes fantasy, but also seems to read a lot of manga and comics as well, which is something I've never delved into. I do feel like our reading tastes don't exactly align, but it's just, I'm there for her personality. She's really great to watch. And I would highly recommend that you go check her out. The third TBR game I want to talk about is the MMs TBR, which is created by Danny from Current Chapter. And in this game, she uses a coordinate system to choose her prompts. So they are prompts. I can't remember if she includes genres in there as well, but there's definitely prompts. And if books haven't been read during the month, then I think the idea for next year is that there's going to be bad prompts put up on this coordinate board. And at the top and the bottom, there are colours of M&Ms. And so throughout the video, Danny chooses M&Ms from her bag. And each round, she chooses 2 different M&Ms. And I'm doing this because she eats them. She chooses 2 different M&Ms. Depending on the colours is where in the coordinate system she goes, and she picks that prompt. But yeah, again, she's a delight to watch, and I just thought it was a really creative way to come up with choosing the prompts. It was really fun. And if you didn't check it out, it's a bit late now because it's already past Christmas. If you wanted to go back and check it out anyway, every day leading up to Christmas, she did a M&M's version of an advent calendar where she got her friends on BookTube to send her prompts. I think it was 2 prompts and 2 books, and her husband put them in these little Christmas boxes. And so every day she got to choose a Christmas box and find out these 2 prompts or these 2 books that her friends had chosen for her, and then she used the green and red M&Ms to pick which one she was going to choose. And then I think throughout next year, she's going to be incorporating all those prompts and all those books into her reading next year. And I just thought it was such a fun idea to do that. Today is only the 8th of December, so I was going to say leading up to Christmas, but it's not Christmas for me yet. So it's really fun to currently be watching that every day. It's such a great idea. And especially to include other booktubers as well. I thought that was genius. Such a nice way to get to know more people in the community. Okay, so TBR number 4 that I want to talk about is Play Your TBR Right, which was created by Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. So Gavin is a booktuber, as if I couldn't remember the word booktuber. Gavin is a booktuber who reads a lot of middle grade. He's a very, very big middle grade advocate, which is really great. And also he's just like got such like a massive personality. Like he's cracks me up every single time that I watch one of his videos. He's just a joy to listen to. So there was an old quiz show which was, I don't know if it's old or if it's still on actually, but it was Play Your Cards Right. And so you have cards, like playing a deck of cards facing away from you, and then you turn the first one over and say it's like a 5. Then you have to guess whether or not the next card is going to be higher or lower than that number. And actually it gets quite like intense as a game. Like it's just so, what Gavin does is he puts one book at one end that he really wants to read, and then he puts another book at the other end that he doesn't want to read for some reason, and then he has to like play his cards right all the way along until he gets to the book that he really wants to read. But it's one of these games that's so difficult to win that it's like quite tense to watch, because he has a lot of despair. There's a lot of times where he's despairing. And he recently had to do this big tower because he ended up getting so many wrong that it meant he punished himself by doing this tower of, I forget what it was called, but yeah, it was really fun to watch. I think that was for his December one, so I'll link that down below if you wanted to check that out. I'll link all these games down below, and their most recent one if you wanted to go and check them out. Honestly, Gavin is hilarious, so I would highly recommend checking him out. And the final TBR game I want to talk about is Mahelia's game. So Mahelia runs Nerd It This Way channel, and her game is called Nerd Nation. She's created this really creative board game. Like, so she's I think she's illustrated it all herself. It's kind of like a mashup of games, so it's complete. I think it's completely original. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is completely original. And I think she's done all the drawings and stuff as well. And it's kind of set up a bit like Monopoly, so it's that you move around the board and there are 2 different sets of cards. But as she moves around the board, depending on if she throws like a even number or an odd number, she picks up from the different stacks. And so for each roll, she has to fit a book to 2 different prompts. And yeah, it's just a really creative thing. I think the design is great. I think the idea is great. It's like, I love that it's completely kind of original. I think when I looked, there was only October and December TBR that she's played so far. So I'm really looking forward to next year and seeing that being played over the next year. So anyway, that was 5 of my favorite TBR games. I do watch some other TBR games as well, but I had to pick 5 because today is the 5 days of Christmas, and I've had a really tough time choosing which category to go in what day. But yeah, I do like other TBR games as well, and I might make other videos like this throughout 2021, just sporadically, to kind of make sure I try and include everybody that I watch. But yeah, if you have any TBR games that you absolutely love watching that I haven't mentioned here, I'd love to know about them. I really enjoy watching them, and yeah, I think they're great. But yeah, so that's everything for day 5. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you tomorrow for day 6 of Bookmas.